Okay, we're back at it with one more video. Haven't done this in a while. So I figured I'd hit you with something useful, even though it's about 15 years too late. The dreaded hatch garnish repair. A lot of you guys who have owned Scion TCs, the first generation specifically, has once upon a time broken your hatch garnish and found yourself in a place where you were purchasing a replacement, or you try to attempt to repair your existing one only to make things worse. Okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. First, you want to remove the hatch garnish, and I'm sure most of you are familiar with how to do this, especially if you've already broken it, you've already taken it off. Hopefully you've been able to retain all the hardware that was existing. What I'm talking about is the 4 10mm nuts, as well as the M6x1 studs that have the flat ends on them. Hopefully all that stuff is still there, because you are going to at least use 2 of them. You need at least a minimum of 2 of them, and you'll see why shortly. This particular hatch came off one of my customer cars. You can see it's been pretty messed up. They bought the car used, and the previous owner obviously tried their best to try to stick this thing back on with whatever they could find. Now, first thing you're going to want to do is obviously clean all this stuff up as best you can. Remove any epoxy, glue, whatever it is on there. Clean up the studs. Get the threads as nice as you can get with whatever tools you might have, a tap set or whatever. These are the areas where you'll need at least those 2 studs that I was talking about. They are the most structurally sound part of the garnish. So even if you bust up the rest of the garnish and you're missing the 2 other studs, they won't matter. This is the main part that you need. You need to drill a hole in these areas here. They need to be a minimum of 7/32 of an inch, no larger than a 1/4 inch. That way you can get a nice snug fit for all those studs to slide from behind the area up into the garnish. And if you want, you could take a little bit of adhesive to keep those studs still, because there might be a little bit of resistance when reinstalling the garnish and you don't want them to push back out those holes. After you slid those studs into the holes, if you want, you can also pop the trunk release button out and repair that if it happens to be ripped. What I did was I put a couple layers of electrical tape and screwed it back down, and it was good to go. Okay, now that you got everything cleaned up, you simply reinstall the garnish the way you normally would. Of course, don't over tighten the screws because you'll break everything again. But just get them nice and snug. And then after that, voila, there you go. Good as new, and it's actually stronger than it ever was before. You can test it out and see how well it opens and closes. It should feel naturally. Some people, when they happen to break these garnishes, it's because they're tugging on the trunk without listening to see if it's releasing. So even if you're one of those people that don't like to wait and listen for the trunk to actually unlock, even if you tug on this thing, it's going to be a little bit harder to snatch it off as it was previously. And that concludes another Your Scion TV segment. Please like and subscribe, and if you enjoy this type of content, you want to see more, please feel free to submit a donation as well as a request if you have any other videos you would like to see pertaining to anything Scion related. Details are in the description box below, and also in the future there will be more information concerning the SR Tune projects. Thank you very much. Take care.